Hello, croeso, welcome to Time Between Times storytelling. Another week has passed. It's time for another tale at the Time Between Times. I hope you're having a good time. The wheel of the year is turning. The year gets darker before the dawn, before the lightness comes again. But here we are. It's that Christmas time of year again. So, today we have a tale which takes place at Christmas many, many years ago. A famous tale, a great tale. One of the most wonderful tales of Arthur and his round table and his court at Camelot. So, there's a lot going on at the moment. Sit back, relax, let all your worries and your cares disappear and dissipate, and join me at the time between times. The time when it is neither night nor day, but the sun has gone and the sky is grey. The time when the veil between our world and the fairy world grows wafer, wafer thin. And at this time of year, at the darkest part of the year, that veil is very thin indeed. Many, many years ago, not far from here, maybe far from you, but not far from me, there was Camelot, the court of Arthur, nestled in the hills of Wales with the mountains stretched to the sky, and there in the middle of it was the shining keep of a Brenin Arthur. And there on Christmas Day many years ago sat Arthur and his knights around their round table. Their feasting was full on and fantastic. They drank beer, they sang until the night fell, they enjoyed themselves, raising a cup to the year gone by and the passing of the time. They knew that this on Christmas Day, as the snow fell outside, this was the greatest day, the day of rejoicing. All raised their cups and celebrated. All made oaths and pledged what they would do and pursue, what quests they would complete in the following year. But at midnight, Christmas Day, just as their party, just as their celebration, just as their gathering started to dissipate, the hallway, the door to the great hall, swang open, and in walked someone that Arthur and his knights did not expect. A knight dressed entirely in green. He strode into the middle of the hall, his armour covered in leaves, the darkest hues of the forest, his helmet covering his face, but his hair full of leaves and branches twisting out of the bottom. His green eyes glared at the gathering. All stood up, for none knew what this stranger wanted. And in a voice as old as the mountains, he said, "I am the Green Knight. I come to Camelot. I come to Camelot with a quest in mind. Any one of you may strike me down with one strike of your sword or axe. But in a year, I will meet that knight again, and I will be allowed one strike upon him. Does any of you have the courage to come forward? Does anyone dare to do this task?" He looked around the table. All the knights stood in fear. All of the knights held their swords, but none of them stepped forward. After a long and rather awkward silence, Arthur stood up and grabbed hold of Excalibur, Caladvalach, his great blade, and was just about to draw it when an arm stretched across him. And there was young Sir Gawain, one of the youngest of Arthur's knights, one of the less proven, but full of courage. He stood forth. "I will strike you down, knight. I will strike you down. And in a year's time there will be nothing left of you to hit me. But you dare stride into our keep, you dare stride into our feast, and I will take vengeance upon you right now. But I will not use my blade, I will use your axe, if that is okay, good sir." The Green Knight placed his axe on the floor. Gawain stepped forward, reached down, and with all his strength just managed to pick up the knight's axe. The knight looked him in the eyes, and Gawain looked into the eyes of the knight and could see that he was of the ages. This was some creature that went back hundreds, thousands of years, as old as the mountains. He bared his neck for Gawain, who with all his strength swung the great axe that was full of moss, swung it, and with a clean blow cut the head of the Green Knight. The knight fell to the ground. The head rolled on the floor, and green blood spewed forth. All the knights gasped and stood, and Gawain turned round in somewhat embarrassed triumph. But suddenly, over his shoulder, he turned and saw that the body of the Green Knight rose from the floor, lifted his head, put it under his arm, and turned to the assembled knights. "You have struck me down. In a year's time I will meet you and do the same." And with that he turned on his heel and left the hall. All the knights gasped. All of them looked at Gawain, who tried to bat it aside, who tried to put his ill feelings aside. But all knew that a fate was now to befall him. Gawain, in a year's time, had to meet the Green Knight. The year passed, turned slowly as the year does from spring to summer, to back to winter, and wherever Gawain went, wherever he rode through on his horse met there, all the villages, all the people would whisper and point at the doomed knight. Until almost a year had passed. It was known that the Green Knight lived in the Green Chapel, up in the hills, not far from Camelot. And Gawain went to find it. Off he went, a week before he was due to meet his fate. He travelled through mountains, through villages, through forests, and met many quests, fought monsters and enemies untold, until at last he knew he was close to the Green Keep, where the Green Knight dwelt. He knew he had a day to go, when suddenly he came across a small hall nestled in the forest. A small hall belonging to a well-to-do lord that no one, least of all Gawain, had ever heard of before. When he arrived there, servants took away his horse, placed it in the stables, and Sir Gawain was greeted by Lord Bertilac. Bertilac was old. Bertilac was nice. Bertilac was courteous. And although he was an old knight, he had a beautiful, beautiful wife. Both of them greeted Gawain. Bertilac said to him, "You may stay here, but whatever I give to you, and what happens in my day, you must return to me equal fold. Do you understand?" "Yes, I do," said Gawain. The next day Sir Bertilac went out hunting, and as he did, Gawain saw him go over the mountains with his horses and his dogs, and that night, before Bertilac had returned, the door to Gawain's room opened, and in walked Lady Bertilac, looking as radiant as anything Gawain had ever seen. She came forward and said to him in a voice as soft as a stream, "I am in love with you, young knight. Take me to your bed." "No," said Gawain, for his honour forbade it. "I will not allow you in my bed." "Very well." But she reached forward, kissed him on the lips. When Bertilac returned, he brought with him a dead hare, all he had gotten from the hunt the day before, and placed it in front of Gawain. "This is my gift to you. What is your gift to me?" Gawain stepped forward, kissed Lord Bertilac on the lips. "That is what I have gained today, and that is my gift for you." The next day, the Lord went out and hunted again, and the same thing happened. Just as night fell, the door to Gawain's bedroom opened, and in walked Lady Bertilac. She walked once forward to see Gawain, and bade him again to take her to his bed. He refused, but she kissed him twice. Bertilac returned, and this time placed 2 hares in front of Gawain. "This is my gift to you. What is your gift to me?" And Gawain kissed him twice. On the third day, the same thing. Bertie Luck left. The door opened, and looking more radiant than the sun in the sky came Lady Bertie Luck. Again she asked to be taken to Gawain's bed. Gawain refused. This time she kissed him 3 times. But this time, and this time only, she reached under her skirts, and there around her waist was a green girdle, and she gave it to Gawain. Gawain tied it to his belt, thanked her for the gift, and bade her farewell. Lord Bertie Luck returned, this time with 3 hares. Gawain kissed him 3 times. "Is that all you have gained today?" said Lord Bertie Luck. "Yes, it is," said Gawain. "Nothing but the 3 kisses." The next day he left for the Green Chapel, the Green Court, where the Green Knight dwelt. Thanking Lord Bertie Luck and his wife, he rode forth on Mellter, stopping at the great green hallway doors, covered with moss and leaves and the ages of the mountains. They stretched open. Far away he could hear the church bells ringing on Christmas Day as Gawain strode forth to meet his fate. There on a green throne in a green wood-filled hall was the Green Knight, as menacing as ever. Gawain strode forward. "I have come to fulfill my vow." And he knelt down, bade, and bared his neck. The Green Knight stepped forward, picking up his axe. He went to cut Gawain once, but stopped. Gawain flinched. The knight laughed. He went to cut again. Gawain flinched, and the knight laughed. And on the 3rd time, he brought his axe around his head and went to smite Gawain. But at the final moment, he stopped his blow. He just caught Gawain on the neck, ever so slightly, so a single drop of blood ran down Gawain's neck and into his shirt. The knight breathed again, as the Green Knight threw down his axe. "You have had courage coming here. My wife offered herself to you once. You said no, but you returned her kiss to me. She offered you herself twice. You said no, but you returned 2 kisses to me. She offered herself 3 times. You said no, and you gave me 3 kisses. But she also gave you a gift you told me nothing of. And that is your punishment, the cut to your neck for your failing in honour." And with that, the Green Chapel, the Green Hall, melted into one. And there sat Lord Bertie Luck and his wife. This was a spell cast by us to test your honour, Gawain. You are a great knight. Go forth this Christmas. Go forth, stride forth, and do battle with the knights of Arthur. For you are deserved of a place at that table round. Gawain got back onto Mellter and rode back to Camelot. And there he was greeted by Arthur and the knights. He could not hide his shame that he had hid the girdle, so made a pledge to always wear it wherever he went, to remind him of how to be honourable always. And all of Arthur's knights did the same, wearing a girdle, to remind them to always be honest, always be truthful, and always be honest. And that, my friends, is the story of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, one of the great Christmas tales. I hope you enjoyed. Take care of yourselves, relax, enjoy the season. Forget about your woes and return here wherever you wish for more tales at the time between times. Diolch yn gwrando. Thank you for listening and watching. Nos da.